Hello, everyone, and welcome to ISDA's Future Leaders in Derivatives program. This is a new initiative for ISDA, and we're delighted that you've been selected to join the first cohort of participants. I'd like to take a few moments to tell you why we've established the program and what we hope to achieve with it. Since the financial crisis in 2008, the derivatives industry has changed almost beyond recognition. Global regulatory reforms have transformed the way the industry operates and how market participants interact with one another. As the industry completes the implementation of the final reforms, the market continues to evolve very rapidly. Advanced technologies are being deployed to increase efficiencies and reduce risk, while the urgency of climate change is driving new trends in trading and investment. At ISDA, we're also looking to address the role derivatives will play in two new assets: ESG, with a particular focus on the environment, and digital or crypto assets. Both will bring new opportunities and challenges for market participants in the months and years ahead. This is an exciting time for the derivatives industry. Now more than ever, we must recognize the need to identify and nurture a diverse network of emerging leaders that can bring a new perspective and lead change in strategically important areas. Greater diversity and inclusion is a moral imperative that leads to better outcomes for business and industries. The IFLD program has been established to address both the transformation of the derivatives industry and the need for greater diversity among its future leaders. Over the past 6 months, our staff committee has developed the terms of reference and the work program to ensure that this initiative delivers on these objectives. Our first intake of future leaders is drawn from a diverse range of geographies and sectors with healthy gender diversity. You collectively represent buy-side, sell-side, law firms, and service providers in jurisdictions all around the world. I'm confident that you will bring a valuable perspective to the table. In the coming months, you will be convening in one of two working groups focused on either ESG or innovation, two of the most critical areas for ISDA at this time. We will expect you to work together to engage with stakeholders, to develop positions, and produce thought leadership materials. We look forward to engaging with you and hearing you present your output at the end of the process. In addition, ISDA will provide access to our best-in-class training materials and resources, supporting your personal, professional development. Now, your participation in the program may last only for a year, but we hope that your contribution to the industry will be long-lasting. The derivatives market stands at a critical juncture with an exciting future that will be determined by an emerging group of exceptional and talented leaders. The IFLD program provides the perfect platform for you to join that group. I want to take the opportunity to thank you for joining this exciting program on its maiden voyage, and I look forward to engaging with you in the coming months ahead. Thank you very much, and good luck.
As Joe mentioned, my name is Kieran McGonigal. I'm an Assistant General Counsel here at ISDA and Chair of the ISDA Future Leaders and Derivatives Committee. On behalf of the committee members, really pleased and delighted to welcome everybody today to the first event of the program. I wanted to spend just 5 or 10 minutes walking people through the program itself. So I'm going to touch upon, as Joe mentioned, the terms of reference for the program, essentially how we intend to govern the program and how it will be structured. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the deliverables, i.e. the work product that we expect you all to work on and deliver as part of the program. I want to also talk a little bit about the diversity objectives of the program. Obviously, promoting diversity, as Scott mentioned in his opening remarks, is a really fundamental objective of the program. So I want to talk a little bit about how we intend to achieve that. And then I will conclude by talking about our training program, by letting you know what the training program will involve, as well as talking about when all of these things are due to take place. As Joel mentioned, I'll then hand over to you to introduce yourself, to talk a little bit about your current role, what you're currently working on, and what you would like to bring to the program. And then we'll open it up for Q&A. Hopefully we'll have some time at the end for that. So beginning with the terms of reference, so the governance of the program itself, it will be led by, as Joel mentioned, the IFLD committee. And that is a committee comprised of ISDA staff members, so 8 of us in total. And our role is really to provide support to you as participants of the program. We'll help you to determine we determine the strategic objectives of the program, but we'll facilitate your work in helping to achieve those objectives. We obviously ran the nomination process, and you were all fortunate enough to be selected by your institutions to take part in the program. So congratulations. And then another key part of our role is to report back to ISDA's leadership, report back to them on what's working well, what's perhaps working less well, and to report back on delivery of the various objectives. And in terms of that, and I'll touch upon this probably a few times in my remarks, we really do want to hear your feedback throughout the program. This is the first year of the Future Leaders program, so really keen to hear from you what works well, what works less well, and what could be improved for future years of the program. In terms of structure, the structure of the program will be broadly familiar to anybody who currently participates within ISDA working groups. We're going to organise this through an ISDA working group structure. So you will all have been added to a new working group, the ISDA Future Leaders in Derivatives working group. There are, I think, some people in the program who have yet to register their details on the ISDA website. So if you haven't yet done that, I would encourage you to do so. And I can reach out to you separately to let you know. If you currently participate in ISDA working groups, don't worry, you're registered and you will be registered for this working group. What we intend to do in the coming days, likely tomorrow, is we'll communicate to participants the different work streams that you have been, or the work stream that you've been allocated to. So as Scott mentioned in his opening remarks, for the first year of the program, we're going to be looking at issues relating to ESG and to issues relating to technology and innovation. And I know some of you, as part of your nomination or part of your application, expressed a preference for one of those areas. And we've done our best to try and allocate places in each work stream to people who have expressed a preference for one or the other. Some people expressed a preference for both, or didn't necessarily express a preference, in which case we've tried to allocate you into what we consider to be the most appropriate group based on your experience and your institution. But please do let us know if we've allocated you to the wrong group. If you would prefer to be in a different group, we can try to accommodate that. In terms of the working groups themselves, they really are your working groups. There will be an ISDA staff member present on all working group discussions to chair the meeting, but that's really to facilitate discussion and to provide you access to some of ISDA's resources as necessary. Within those broad remits, ESG, technology and innovation, we do expect you to work together collaboratively to determine what you want to achieve, what topics you wish to focus on. Clearly, what you do decide to work on will need to be within the confines of ISDA's policy or strategy on a particular topic, and the ISDA staff member allocated to your group will be available to guide you on that. But I think just to emphasize that this is really your program, and it's going to be what you make of it. So we encourage you to work collaboratively to think through the various issues relating to those topics. We think that it would be appropriate if the working groups met at least 6 times per year to advance and deliver upon the objectives. Clearly, given the type of objective, the type of deliverable you decide upon, you may need more or fewer meetings, or you may need more meetings at one point of the year and fewer meetings at another point of the year. Again, that's really open to you, how often you want to meet, what you think you need to do. We would encourage people to consider different time zones when scheduling calls, or when thinking about scheduling calls. It may be that you want to run multiple calls in order to ensure that people in different jurisdictions have an opportunity to participate. Again, as the staff member can help with that, but I think there's something to consider as you participate within the working group. You will each have been appointed to the program for 1 year. We are currently working on developing an alumni program, so your membership of the program could be extended by up to 3 years, which could allow you to continue accessing future resources and training materials. More to follow on that. A couple of points to note. Again, none of this will be unfamiliar to anybody who's worked or participated in an ISDA working group before. Obviously, being live to antitrust sensitivities. Please don't share any confidential information within the working group. I think probably one of the key distinctions between this and traditional ISDA working groups is that each of you are participating in your own capacity. So we would ask you not to use this process to further any objective set by your institution. We really would prefer if you participate in this and give your own views independently rather than the views of your organization. And I'll touch upon the deliverable and what we think might be an appropriate deliverable as part of the program. But suffice to say that anything that is produced as part of the program will be under ISDA's control and ISDA ownership. As mentioned previously, we obviously wouldn't want this program to be used to put views out into the market which are at odds or which contrast with ISDA's established policy views or strategy in any one topic. So again, the ISDA staff member on hand will be able to guide that. Moving on to the deliverables. So we do expect the working groups to come up with something tangible. We think it would be beneficial not only to use participants, but also to ISDA and to the broader industry if we were able to, or if you were able to, as a group, work collaboratively to put together some research or thought leadership piece on some of these strategic topics. Given that the main thrust of this program is around leadership, our working assumption is that you each deliver within your respective working groups some kind of thought leadership piece which gave a strategic long-term view, perhaps identifying 3 to 5 key trends within a particular topic or with respect to a particular issue, and give your thoughts as a group as to how the industry might respond or adapt to some of these emerging issues. Again, that's just our working assumption. We'll work with you within your respective working groups to better define what the deliverables are and to refine that. But we think that it's a reasonable working assumption at the moment. Additionally, we are expecting to hold a conference towards the end of the program, once you've had a chance to work in your groups to form views and to determine positions on different issues and topics. At the moment, we're aiming for that conference to take place during ISDA's AGM next year. Obviously, a little bit of that depends on where we are, whether it will be in person, whether it will be a virtual or hybrid event again. We may do a dedicated conference where there's a little bit of uncertainty, as you might imagine, attached to the production of conferences at the moment. But we will endeavour to give you all a platform in order to present your work to the broader membership. Again, we think that will be not only of benefit to participants, but also of considerable benefit to ISDA and to our members. Touching upon diversity, so as Scott mentioned in his opening remarks, the diversity is increasing the levels of diversity within the derivatives industry is really a fundamental component of this program. And it's something that we take very seriously, and it's something that we want to promote as part of this program. We see ourselves really delivering upon our objectives in 3 different areas. So the first objective is clearly through running this program and through selecting candidates, we're aiming to promote the demographic, cultural, professional diversity of participants within the derivatives industry. When we reached out to each of your institutions, we asked them, when nominating individuals, to be mindful of that objective. And I think, based on today and the event that we had earlier this week, I think fair to say that we've done quite a good job in terms of identifying a very diverse group. So we're really pleased with that. Perhaps we could do better from your perspective. So that's something we'd love to hear your feedback on as the program progresses. Collaboration, I think, is another important aspect to this. As you all know, there are a number of different groups out there, both within the derivatives industry and more broadly across the market, dedicated to achieving greater diversity, perhaps on behalf of one socioeconomic group or demographic group. We would like to collaborate to the extent possible with some of those groups, potentially to do events with them, to work with them on issues relating to diversity. So a really important part of this program will be the extent to which we can collaborate with other like-minded programs and organizations. And then the final point, empowerment. So this is really important. I've touched upon this, I think, a couple of times. We really want to hear from you as part of this program. We want to hear from you around how this program can develop and evolve and get better over time. But we also want to hear from you on issues, diversity issues, other issues within the derivatives market that you feel strongly about. We want to give you a platform and empower you to provide that feedback to us so that we can consider how we can improve as an industry. Training program. So the training program is currently under development. You'll hear more about that, more details about that in due course. The training program itself, broadly speaking, will be split into 2 distinct categories. So one piece of it will be formal training, so technical skills. And I think as part of that, one of the things we'll look to do is to make all of ISDA's training resources available to you at no cost. So we have a number of different, as I'm sure you know, recorded seminars and webinars on different aspects of derivatives, so legal issues, policy issues, risk and capital, fundamentals, product issues, etc. So we hope to make that available to you, and we hope that will be useful in terms of broadening and deepening your understanding of the derivatives market and your own technical skills. The other side of it will be the informal training side, and we're putting together a program on that at the moment. But that will be split really into, as you can see on the slide here, both soft skills and leadership skills. So again, you'll hear more about this in due course, but I think as part of that, we'll look to do things like organize events with senior leadership within ISDA, people like Scott, for example, who can give you the benefit of their experience in the markets, tell you a little bit about their journey to leadership positions, give you their view, their longer term view as to, you know, some of the strategic issues that we're going to be looking at as part of the program. But more to come on that. But again, please do let us know if there's anything in particular that you would like us to cover as part of the training program, and we can try to accommodate it best as possible. Timing. So we have on the screen a timeline. So we started scoping out this project in March of this year, putting together the committee, putting together the call for nominations, designing the program, the training program objectives, etc. Presenting it to ISDA senior membership, presenting it to the board. Fair to say that there has been a significant amount of support for this program. I think, you know, within senior leadership, within both ISDA and within our membership organizations, people really see this as a good and important thing. So we're very confident that will be a success. So we're at September 2021 now, or well, we're October 2021 now. We're at the welcome event. From October through April, we expect that through your working groups, you will be developing and delivering upon the objectives and deliverables that I mentioned. April, May time, we're scheduled to present some of that work, whether at the AGM or as part of a separate conference or both. And then May, June time, the formal training program that I mentioned will commence. That's a little bit subject to change. As I mentioned at the outset, this is the first year that we're doing this program. Some of these things may adapt. Again, please let us know whether you would like to change things around. We're very open to suggestions.